With both Sigma and Canon fielding questions at CP Plus last month, are we any closer to getting full-frame third-party lenses? Like the 150 to 600 mm, the 35 mm f1.4, or even the 70 to 200 mm? Or does Canon have any constraints in place, preventing them from developing full-frame lenses? Well, I have the answer to these questions in this video. But first, I have a simple and humble request. Please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps this channel grow, and it keeps you informed on the latest camera gear, such as Sigma full-frame Canon RF lenses. At CP Plus on February the 27th, Takura-san, Canon's Vice President and Executive Officer and Director of the Imaging Group, had this to say. Other companies have begun to release several RF lenses, but we have no idea what types of lenses they're going to release. We only know that they have released lenses, and we can't disclose the contents of any contracts, such as licenses, to the public. Right now, all that I can tell you is that we're deciding on the contents of these contracts to be within our business strategy. So that statement by Canon's CEO and director of their imaging group does tell us a couple of things. Now, the first thing it tells us is that when it comes to Sigma and Tamron to tell Canon what they're working on, at least when it comes to the APS-C mount of the RF mount, the RFS mount, well, they don't have to keep Canon updated on every lens that comes out. So the license is rather broad, but not completely broad. You see, it's this last sentence that gives me pause. We are deciding the contents of contracts within our business strategy. We are deciding on the contents of the contracts to meet with their business strategy. I don't know. I kind of thought that Canon had already worked out the contract details from what they said last year. Exactly 1 year ago, again at CP Plus, Canon said this. We are communicating with third-party manufacturers about opening up the RF mount. More than half of the depth of communication up to commercialization is already done. And yes, last year's statement didn't tell us a whole lot other than the contracts, the negotiations were going rather well. And then in April, we had the announcement of 6 new APS-C lenses, 5 from Sigma and 1 from Tamron. But here we are another year later, and it's still unclear as to what's happening in the space. Are we going to see Samyang full-frame lenses with autofocus? See, that's really the question here. Zeiss Otis just announced a couple of lenses. I believe it was the 85mm and the 35mm, both around $29.99. And they're both manual focus, not autofocus. So from what we're seeing on the marketplace, it doesn't appear that this mount is completely open. What it appears to be is going on here is that Canon's doing this on a case-by-case basis. They're doing a contract with Sigma, a contract with Tamron, and whomever else. But the statement this year has me wondering if the contract that was granted to Sigma and Tamron last year was the ability to produce APS-C lenses and APS-C lenses only. But there is one bit of good news. Sigma was also at CP Plus 2025 and was asked many of the same questions, so you probably want to hear what Sigma has to say, and I can tell you it's a little bit more clear. With Canon being coy, we turned our attention to Sigma. Sigma just announced their new full-frame camera, the BF, the 300 to 600mm f4, and because they were also at CP Plus, Phototrend took some time out to interview their CEO, Yamaki-san, asking Yamaki-san the one question we all want to know the answer to. All right, first up the question, and then the answer. By the way, will we ever see full-frame Sigma lenses on the Canon EOS R system? To which Yamaki-san responded curtly, sorry, I can't comment on that. Yeah, as clear as mud once again. Now, in the past, when Sigma's been asked questions, Sigma would always say things such as, well, we can't really comment on anything right now, but obviously, as you'd imagine, we would like to, and then go off into another sentence or two about developing lenses for Canon's systems. This time around, it was just sorry, we can't comment on that. I do get a sense, based on everything I've heard over the past 3 to 4 years, that Canon is slowly negotiating with third-party lens makers that they think can actually help, I wouldn't say necessarily improve the ecosystem, but that fit within their strategy of what Canon wants to see in the marketplace. And I get a sense that all the lenses that were approved last year were just for the APS-C mount. Or, sorry, the APS-C mount being the RFS mount. And it's the same mount, it's just one's designed for APS-C, the other's designed for full frame sensors. So this is the frustration we have here, is that neither Canon nor Sigma is really giving us a clear answer as to what the roadmap is. And to be fair, if they are in negotiations, would you give out any other information? You wouldn't, at least not until a deal was, well, signed. What's surprising is after last year, I thought things were pretty much wrapped up, is that the mount was open. But according to Canon this year, well, why would they be negotiating any other details if the mount wasn't open? You see, this is where this once again becomes frustrating. It's the most frustrating topic to cover, because we're told time and time again that they're opening the mount. The mount is open, but if the mount is open, why are they still negotiating? And it fits in within their strategy. So I wanted to get you more. The piece that Canon Rumors did yesterday was great, but I wanted to get information, and Phototrend in France has been doing a great job of covering third-party lens makers. And as always, this year around, they interviewed Sigma, but once again, we're not any closer. However, to give you a bit of a date range, because we got an announcement a year ago in April, I would expect probably sometime next month now, we could get another announcement by Sigma. Now, if there's no full-frame lenses, I would at least expect to get APS-C lenses. And if we, of course, just get APS-C lenses, that tells us that full frame is probably at least 6 months away. I'm sorry, guys. I don't make the news. I just report it. I know it's frustrating. I wish I had something more concrete for you. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for watching till the end of the video. One thing I've started doing in my membership levels now, I have one called Behind the Scenes. And what I do in those videos is I give you a little bit of behind the scenes, showing you what I do on a given weekend related to camera gear, such as this past weekend taking the RF 24 to 70mm f2.8 out. This weekend? Well, I'm not sure, but perhaps, just perhaps, should I get the 28 to 70mm, the second one? Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I forgot what I was going to say next. So you know what? Let's go ahead and close things off, guys. Thanks again for watching. Have yourself a great week. Spring is almost here. Oh, the one question I wanted to ask you about. With spring on its way, what's your favorite springtime lens? A 24 to 105, 24 to 70, a 100 to 500mm, a super telephoto like Sigma's 150 to 600mm, or Canon's 100 to 500, 200 to 800, or perhaps a 400mm f2.8. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great day, a great week, and we'll see you again soon.